Hello everybody, my name is Christian Quick and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about just the basic armor. The first thing that we're going to have to do is with our tools, there is a mod tool material, and when it comes to armor, we need an armor materials. So from here we can look up armor materials class, and here is basically what we need to copy. So let's make a new Java class called an enum, and let's call this armor materials. Make sure it is an enum, and then, oh, not armor. Make sure you have mod in front of it, because we're copying this class. We're cheating, copying it. All right, and then just copy the entire class, and you're basically done. Control C, mod armor materials, Control V. Oh, and I forgot. It's got to implements, and then we have to say armor material. And then the next thing, this whole top part is going to be broken because we need to do mod armor materials, and then everything is fine. So in here, we actually have a couple different sounds, or things that we're going to be worrying about. Now this one, I'm a little, I want to say I'm a little bit confused on how these work. So basically, you have it's talking about how much armor, because there's an armor bar, right? And so if we look at netherite, there is a maximum of 20 or 10, no, 20. And so there's 3 that you get from your helmet, so technically 1.5. 6, which would be 3 bars, 8, which would be 4, and then another 1.5 to make the full 10 to say your entire thing is full. But I don't think that this actually matters. I could be completely wrong. Could be completely wrong. But if I said I wanted this to be 10, like right now it says that there's nothing wrong, and then your armor bar would be overflowing, and that's where I get a little confused on how this thing works. But durability multiplier. Um, I'm guessing this is talking about like how like the damage gets taken. Like sometimes, like if you get hurt, it doesn't always take away damage. I think so. Basically, so the durability is so like if we were looking at your iron helmet, there's your 2. It wouldn't be 2 times 15. I have no idea. It's multiplying something by base durability. So maybe it's 13 times 1 times 7, and that becomes your durability. I don't know. I don't know all the math numbers. I just know that, well, actually, let's get rid of all of them except netherite. And then let's get rid of this and call it nether brick. And then let's put a little thing in here. And then we'll call it right here nether brick, because this is what we're basically doing. And so we have our durability, and do I want it that strong? No, we'll just say 20, and then we'll set this to, let's say, 2, 5, 6, 2. All right, enchantability. I always like to put this at 30, because I think 30 is like the maximum. You could put it higher than 30, but I don't think it like really affects the numbers. Your sound items. There's a bunch of item like sounds that you could put literally anything. So if I wanted this to be like a entity allay ambient with item sound, you could literally make this any item that you want. But if you ever just want to go through all of this, you have all of them. We'll just use standard diamond for our nether brick. Toughness. Um, This is basically knockback resistance and your toughness. We're just gonna put this at let's say 1, and then your knockback resistance. We're just gonna put that at 0. We don't need a knockback resistance. Items dot dang it. Let's change this to nether brick. So now this is great. It's fine. I could probably use this as a lambda expression. And then let's, from here before the lambda, let's, boom, let's put that there. All right, So now this is done, but we're not using our materials. So let's go in here and let's, so I've already confirmed that we're going to be using a nether brick. So let's Control C, Control V, and then let's change the item. So let's do nether brick helmet. Oop, I put 2 slashes. Helmet. And then we're going to have to put it again in here. Nether oop, brick helmet. And then this is going to simply be armor item. And this is going to be mod, not tool materials, but armor materials. And we need to name it something that exists, so we're going to do the nether brick. And then it's going to say that there's an error because this isn't talking about, it's talking about your slot and then your settings. So this is our settings. So that means the only thing that's left is this thing called slot. And to do that, we can call equipment slot. And then where do we want this? If this is the helmet, then we're going to want to put it on the head. If it was a chest plate, we'd put it on your chest. If it is leggings, you put it on your legs. And if they are boots, you put it on your feet. So with that in mind, that is all there. And most of the hard stuff, that's practically all of it. If I wanted to make the rest of it, I could. But we'll go back and I'll re-register the rest of them because one of the things I want to talk about is the textures. So your model and you're going to need to make a regular item model. But let's for a second take a look at the Minecraft because your textures for the armor looks a little bit different. So normally you have your models, textures, and then you would go into item, and then here is every single item you could possibly have or want. But you would need to go into textures, and then there's a thing called models. So when it comes down to our textures, we're going to need to add a new directory called models. And then in there, if we go in the models that they have here, there's one called armor. So let us call in the directory and call it armor. And then in here, it says the chainmail, and then it's got the layer 1 PNG, and then layer 2. Let's take a look at the turtle helmet. So here we can see in our turtle helmet that it is simply just the helmet. And actually, I can better pull this up in if I go down here, I believe. Minecraft textures, models, armor. So let's take a look at the turtle. So here we have the turtle, and you can tell it is the helmet. This is the top, this is the very back, here is the right, left side, and then this is the front, right? But if I was to look at the netherite, you can tell that here we clearly have the helmet, and then this is the chest plate. So the helmet and chest plate are done together in layer 1, and then in layer 2, we have this would be your leggings, and then these would be your boots. So we're going to have to eventually, we could just do 1 layer, but we're eventually going to have to put in 2 layers. If you like, let's say you just wanted to put in just some boot or some leggings or boots or both, you know, just erase everything that isn't needed. So basically, Minecraft said they didn't want a turtle chest plate, so they just erased all this. But you can still see that it's 64 by 32. But for here, it's 64 by 32, but they just erased the chest plate. So whatever specific item you want, you're just going to have to retexture it, but just put whatever you want in there. All right, and then now that I just wanted to point that out before I made all of them. So let's make the chest plate. Oop. Chest plate. Control D. And then here we're going to need the leggings. Leggings. And then lastly, we are going to need the boots. Boots. All right, and then we're going to need to change these. So like I said, this is going to need to be chest. This is going to need to be legs. And then this is going to need to be feet for all you weird people out there. All right. So now that we have this done and textured, these are still items. The reason why models is even in this package is because when I am holding the item, I need an item texture, but if I'm when I put it on, I'm wearing it, and you have to physically see that what I'm wearing, and that's what the models is because it's wrapping around your player. But with that out of line, let's go ahead and let's make our let's actually before we get to the texture, not forgetting about the lang file here. Control D. So now we're going to need the nether brick. And then sometimes when I'm adding a bunch of things, I'll do this thing where I go nether brick, and then I put a space, and then I do this, and now I put in the specifics. Helmet. It makes copying and pasting, that way I don't have to that way I don't have to keep like hovering over everything. Boots. All right, so now those are put in, and all that it seems that we need to do is make the textures. All right, here it is. It's me, Mr. Editor, and I'm going to talk to you about all these fancy textures that we're making. Now, lucky me, I don't have to be creative and make anything new. I'm literally just light to dark, just copying over the nether brick onto the diamond, and I messed some of the layers up. But, I mean, your basic helmet, chestplate, legging, boots items, those we're used to seeing. They're always 16 by 16. But make sure that when you are dealing with the layers, the ones that are wider, you need to make sure that the width is 64 and that the height is 32. And like I've already said, that if you just don't want a particular something, you can. This would be the part where you just literally just erase it, gone, gone forever, goodbye. That's what they did with the turtle helmet. I'm glad that they had an example, sort of, to show that literally they erased it. But even with the turtle helmet, even though they got rid of that section, they still made sure that it was the 64 by 32 because that is just how it is modeled around the player, because it is based off of the player's texture. Now, another thing that is really important, so because it's really important, I'm just going to say it. Um, Whatever the material name is, the material name for this is called nether brick. When I have those layers, I need to make sure that it says nether brick underscore layer underscore 1, and then the extension, which is that .png. But I need to make sure that I have my material, and then the layer, and then there are the two layers. The one with the helmet and chest plate is layer 1. The one with the leggings and boots is layer 2. You need to make sure that the name is exactly the same as your material. So whatever your material is, material, layer. Otherwise, if you try and somehow change the names, if they don't match, it's not going to work. So just make sure that's put in there, and I think that is all the important stuff. The data generation. This is the second time that I thought something in the data gen would work, but didn't. Now, for me, it makes sense that these are items, and so for me, that the items would fit in. The data gen didn't work again. I did put them in. I specifically cut them out of the video, um, because I, was running short on time, I guess. Um, but that's just kind of there. But I will end up fixing it. You'll kind of see how I just talk about removing, and then I have to manually put them in there, which is fine. It's just a little bit more time consuming to personally put them in manually. I don't know if there's something wrong with the data generation, but this is, now I'm going to have to keep a keen eye on it. If we fix it, then in just some random video when it gets fixed, I'm literally just going to just move them all over. I might even just make a test item, just throw it in there, see if it works, and if it doesn't, well, then I got a problem with the data generation. But if not, it might just literally be the items. But I don't know. I think there might be something wrong. Beyond that, this is armor, and so this is basically the end of the materials chapter. We got one more, and I'll mention at the very end of the video, I love status effects. So we are going to learn how to make status effects for each armor piece, and then how to make status effects for the an armor set. And then I'm also going to talk about inventory tick and something that is very dangerous, but it is possible, it is very well possible that you can set an effect to the player that has an inventory, and then since you always have an inventory, as long as you're playing the game in survival, you will always have. You actually, it doesn't even matter. You have an inventory in creative. You'll always have an effect. Doesn't matter. You'll just always have it. And I think that's really interesting. But another thing that I find that interesting is because it is simply it's something that's not a mix-in, but you're definitely overriding some of that Minecraft stuff. Sort of. It feels like you are, but you're technically not because you need a mix-in to override something that's Minecraft. This is basically like a getaway system, and that's generally what for me modding is all about because I don't use mix-ins. If there's a way that I can sneak around and cut corners, I'll take it. I'll take it so fast because to me they are personally like 100% easier. Maybe okay, maybe not easier. There's or safer. I don't know. I just think mix-ins are dangerous and I don't like using them because they can be complicated. But for me, I would say that it's easier and safer, but that's all up for debate. With that in mind, that is the end of this rant, so we can get back into the video, some of the mistakes and the fixes, but it's fine. We're here, you're here, we made it. Here we go. Here we are back in the code, and actually from our assets, we're going to add a new directory. This one's going to be called Minecraft, and then we are going to be putting the in our Minecraft. We're going to make a new directory called Textures. And then we are going to need to put our models inside of the textures. And for some reason, you cannot add them through your own texture models. You got to put it through this. Another thing, if I try and run the data generation, for some reason I'm getting this thing called clamped model predicate provider, and I'm not too sure what is causing that. I'm gonna assume it has something to do with I don't know. It has to deal with something with the data gen because I haven't had that problem before. So we are going to have to we're gonna manually make these, which isn't it would have been easier if it could just read it and do it for me. But making the models isn't that hard itself. So we got Minecraft, and then we're gonna go in. Oop, let's go into Assets, Minecraft, Models, Item, and then let's look up the word diamond, and then we are simply just going to look for the armored set. So here is one of them for diamond boots. We're gonna add one in here, and then instead of calling it diamond, we're gonna call it Nether brick boots. And then here we're going to change this to be HMH3, and then we're going to change this to Nether brick boots. And now that we had that one, we just have to copy this and with all the other ones. So here we got the helmet. I don't like how it's way out there. Helmet. Chestplate. Leggings. And then this is simply putting out to our textures. Inside of textures, it's going to look for an item, and then that item needs to be called this. So that is what it's basically doing, Nether brick leggings. It's not talking about the .png. It's just talking about the name behind it. I think it's because there are different things that are files. That's why it's just looking for the name of the file. That is just your file extension saying what kind of file is it. Like how this is .json. That's not the name. It's just the file extension. So it just is looking for the name. When it comes down to item, because I forgot to do this, mod items, we need to add these to the groups. So we're going to Control D. All right, so now it should be easy to grab. And then, so now everything should be working in the game. It should be all textured and everything's modeled fine. But there is the crafting. So we still got to make the crafting for all of these. Let's get ourselves some nether bricks. This one's going to take a little bit because we have to make 4. And then we have to make advancements for each recipe. So we're going to do this. And then we're got our helmet. Actually, why don't we start? I like to start with the most amount of items first, because when I use this, I can just delete the items. So let's grab Control C, and then let's go into. Let's just close this to make it simpler. Actually, we don't need assets. We're looking at data now. All right, so let's go in our recipes, and now we are making one called Nether brick chest plate. Oop. I accidentally forgot to write JSON, and sometimes it becomes a big problem. It's not a problem. That's fine. File, nether brick chest plate.json. Control V. And then we'll just need to change this to HMH3. And then we're going to call this nether brick chest plate. Awesome. And then let's just copy this in here. And we're going to call this helmet. All right, so now we're going to call this helmet. And then we have to make this look like a helmet. So let's just... I was gonna personally copy and paste them, but it is faster that if you know how to use this to just, as long as each key item is in the correct place in the crafting table, you'll be fine. Trust me. All right, let's copy the helmet, and then let's call this no capital leggings, and then we just have to get rid of one of those over there, one of those over here. That's the leggings. I'm gonna rename it over here, leggings, and then we're gonna recipes, and then we're gonna call the last one boots, and then we're just gonna space. We don't actually need that because the pattern just needs to have to. Let me make sure the helmet. Yeah, you don't need the space because that makes the crafting have a special shape that is unnecessary. All right, so then let's go back to boots. Make sure this is called boots, and then put a little space in there. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, so there is that. So now we got to add the my goodness, now we got to add the recipes. So for this, well, let's call it the Nether bricks, Nether brick helmet. And this is only going to require one item, and that item is going to be nether brick. And then from here, we will then unlock. Actually, we're unlocking a couple things. But if this is called for the helmet, then we have to call each of them individually. Nether brick helmet. Nether brick helmet. Beautiful. And then we are just going to copy this, and then we're going to call this chest plate. That's right. We're just going to call Control D. All right, Control F. We're going to look for the word helmet. I'm going to take all of them, just call it chest plate. Do it again. Make sure it would be the helmet. Leggings. Control F, copy all of them. Leggings, Control C. This one will be boots, Control F, and then replace these with boots. All right, so now we have everything looking beautiful. Let's load the world, and because I took them out of the data generation, we do not need to run the data generation. You can just straight up run the client and have a good time. All right, and here we are in our beautiful Minecraft world. So if we look up Nether, you can see that, oh, wow, right, perfectly aligned. We have our helmet, our chest plate, our leggings, and our boots. And so if I go in survival, we can click on here. Let's go back and create it for a second. Let's get a crafting table. And then let's get some nether bricks because we want to make sure that all of them are not only working, but that they are working fine. So that is that. So we've got the leggings, the helmet, and the boots. Leggings, helmet, boots. Perfect. So we have everything working perfectly fine. And then if I just simply look up the brick, you can see that I have a recipe for all of them popped up. So they should all be they're all working. And then if I take a beautiful look at myself, it seems that there is holes in the shirt. In the little sleeves, it looks. I don't know. I don't know if those are supposed to be there. I don't think so. Let's get some. Let's get a diamond chestplate. Do they? No. Oh wow, they do have the hole in them. I was like, I thought perhaps I forgot a pixel or two. They legit have holes in them. I did not know that, but apparently they did. All right, so that is all for this. Everything is called correctly. You got your armor set. If we go in survival, you can count them up, but we have the armor bar. It does exist. If my sit game mode, there it is. It does exist. So I got all my protection stuff working well, and then you can only guess what we're going to be doing in the next video because I love status effects. So hopefully you can tune in with me for the next video. So for now, thank you guys so much for watching, and without further ado,